Welcome to the fourth Dhamma Trips podcast episode. I haven't done one in a while, and it's been, I think, last March when I did the last one. So almost nine months later, and I have with me Jonathan. Jonathan, or Joe for short, has been a close friend of mine for a long time. I met him in drama, in theatre, and we worked on many projects together. And so there's no specific topic per se, but rather the journey of not even spirituality, but the journey of, like, what would you call it, like
Just
investigation.
new perspective on the way you look. Just a new perspective on how I now look on life, and the way I think when I speak about how I was and how I used to look at life, I think it is a bit more relatable to a lot of people. I hope. I was not some loner who had a different way of thinking, but maybe from there to see how I've transitioned to something a bit more.
So what did you used to?
Insight.
What was your initial view? You were like a Christian, no?
Yeah, I was born a Catholic.
Yeah.
And a very serious Catholic also, because in school and all, when I was in my very small, like in grade 4 and all that, I used to religiously ask for help from this. I felt a bit safe also at times, knowing that someone is out there looking after me. And I've had I'm going to get scolded today at school, but Jesus is there. Like I had that sort of a safety net of some sort, thinking with that. But then as I got older and I got a bit more.
But wasn't there like a sense of peace there also, within Jesus, or was
Yes,
there?
there was definitely was, because like I said, it made me see a bit of a safety net. Like I could fall, but then I will never really fall, because that would always be there to catch me. But then now when I look back at it, that was a lot to do with blind faith, and I was born into that religion. I didn't choose. This I resonate with this a lot. I'm going to go after this. So because of that,
More because you, like, your family told you to go in.
and it resonated with me for a while. But that's because I think when you're young, you're like wet clay. You can be molded into any way you want. But then my mom, I credit to my mom. She like always has. I think at a point even she used to force feed the whole. So like pray in the night, examine your conscience in the night, make sure you are doing good, pray always.
Examine your conscience.
That's something she always said, just to go through your day. I found that interesting even after I changed, because she always used to say, go through your day, see what sort of changes you made for other people, and see whether you made a good change or a positive change. Would Jesus be happy with what you did, and that sort of this thing. Even though that thinking pattern, when I look at it, is a little bit flawed, because it has blind faith. It was not wrong.
Was there guilt in it? Like say
Yes, when you did something wrong, you're like, shit, now I'm going to go to hell. That's always there. But as I grew up, and I honestly, I believe I was more exposed to bad things that happen in the world when it came to just how families interact with each other and all that. Where I felt like my elder sister and all that really shielded me or closed my eyes for a bit. I guess like how Lord Buddha was not privy to what was happening outside the kingdom. Similar,
really,
in a similar way. Shanla, I think my elder sister, she kind of didn't let me see some things. Even Amma was the same when it came to family affairs and stuff like that. But as I got older and I was eventually pulled into how everything works here, I was like, oh shit, I'm opening my eyes now and I'm seeing that when something bad happens to you, my mother used to say, offer it to the Lord. The Lord will help you in heaven, and like you will be benefited for this. But then I didn't see why you should take a punch and stay down and then think that it's going to be okay in the future, whereas you could dive more deeper. Now I know that you can dive deeper into why you got punched and why does it hurt so much and all this stuff, which seemed like a more profound way to go about it. Like you're actually diving deep into what happened, not hoping that, okay, let's hope it doesn't happen again, someone is going to save me, sort of thing. Whereas I think you really should, how you go about in the world, it's your responsibility what you go through, and it's your responsibility how you deal with what you go through. So even if it comes to your happiness, you are in control of finding that. And if you want to find it, you have to make the decision. No one's going to make it for you. That's what I believe.
Yeah, because what happens to you is beyond your control, no?
Yeah. You can plan things. You can have a calendar and a diary and say, this is I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
You can say, I'm going to go for a walk. It might rain.
Yeah.
Like there are just some things you can't even be mad at it because you just never had control over it in the first place. Yeah.
And something, I mean, I think a lot of people, myself included, used to do is like whenever something doesn't go your way, you get kind of pissed off at it, no?
Yeah.
And you get annoyed at it, but that's completely out of your control. Yeah. And you have people like who are pissed off, like you said, even at the weather, no? Like, oh, it's raining today, like what you gonna do about it?
What could you have done about it? Exactly. There are a lot of people who are like, even because like even me, if you take the weather for example, when I like watching cricket, so sometimes before the match starts, I'm like, okay, I'm excited. I'm ready to watch the match. I can't wait to watch the match, and then it'll rain, and then the match is gone, cancelled, and now I get really mad, and I feel like my day is ruined. Now I had planned 8 hours of my day. I'm going to watch this ODI match. Now I don't know what to do with my time. I created a bit of a future version of me who's going to enjoy the cricket match, and unconsciously, really, I got attached to that idea of me watching the cricket match in the future.
Yeah.
And as soon as the rain came down, something not in my control, and destroyed that future version of me, that attachment broke. And with that snap of it hit me like, now what am I going to do with my day? I'm going to be sad now. Okay, my day is ruined.
Yeah, that attachment didn't really break. Like that attachment was still there. It's just that you couldn't make that like a reality.
Yes,
no?
Yeah. You were. I think you were attached. I was attached to making that a reality.
Yeah, exactly. Because even when you visit it as a concept, like in your head, I'm going to be watching the match. It's still pleasurable. Like thinking you're like going to be watching the match, it's going to happen. Like the hype is still there.
Yeah.
But once you can't get to that, that's where you get like pissed off.
Yes,
where you can't make that like a reality, no? Yeah. Dude, another thing you said before was may offer it to God, or offer it to what exactly do you mean by that?
I think best person to ask my mother.
But
she used to.
But
like,
just to get an idea, because I also asked first time. Like I don't know, I'm curious.
So she used to, like, when bad things happen. She was not. She preached the idea of let it happen to you. And like she didn't, it was never promoted. Okay, investigate why it happened to you. Investigate to go further. It was more like let it happen. In the future, you will be rewarded by something. God, in that case, like you go to heaven.
You like offer your problem or offer the bad stuff which happened.
Offer how you reacted. Like if you reacted into it, like something bad happens to you, and you react in a positive way. You let it happen to you. Like someone's beating you, just take the hit. Just the fact that you behaved in a favorable way, offer that to the Lord. Like, that you will be rewarded for that.
Like you did that, did that out of faith to the Lord, or something like that.
Like you, I guess it has this thing, but like, because you had that intention, like I'm going to offer this to the Lord and all that. It makes it okay. I don't think in this.
I mean, I don't think it's like a wrong approach or like a
definitely.
I mean, it is an approach. It is something you can try out, but also it has its not downsides, but its limitations. No,
yes,
like it's not going to solve the problem at like the root cause. Yeah. It's not like a hit at what do you call the religion or anything. It's not a hit at Christianity. Rather, it's like, rather like an exploration into how different methods of like dealing with it. No, and that's what I find like fascinating with it. Is that even in the past, like I've had different approaches to the same problems, and surely there must be one approach which works universally for each and everything. Yeah, no matter what life throws at you, because that's out of control. What's life going to throw at you? There must be a way to really understand that particular thing and process it in 100% healthy way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, even what you said about it's not a hit at Catholicism or anything. Like I think I owe a lot to that at the time of my life, because it helped me get through a lot of things. Even though it was a little bit of a delusion, I would say. But I think after my Catholicism phase, I went through a bit of an atheist phase where I was like, nothing is right. Okay, this also doesn't sound right. This doesn't sound right. And I was like, I don't believe in anything now. And I even came to this point where when people talked about like Catholicism stuff, I would make fun of it. Like, I used to believe in that so much. Like, screw this person. Screw this thing. I'm not going to go to church. I don't want to go to church. But now, even with this new insight, what that thought is not wrong. But like you said, it has its limitations. It's not an answer to your problems, but it's a way of looking at it. Like you said, there is a lot of other ways to look at your problem. Yeah. And this is also a way that helps some people.
Yeah.
But I mean, it exists for so long because it has helped people.
Exactly. And I think more than like a structural institutionalized thing, there's also definitely like a spiritual aspect to it also. I guess the idea of we never like planned it in going in this direction, but like offering your problems or having this like mentality that someone's going to take away all that pain or it's all going to be okay. I think that's like a space to go to, no? Like when everything around you is like going shit. I guess that's like a nice kind of fantasy almost.
Yeah, but if you believe in it strongly, it kind of takes form in some sort of a way, you know. Because you put some energy into that, and that energy takes the shape of something which you believe in.
But that's the thing. Does it completely solve the problem? No. I mean, if it does, then great. No. Then that is the solution. No.
But found it.
Yeah. And everyone at the end of the day is like trying to find peace, trying to find the right or peace actually, I don't know, depends from person to person what they're looking for. But I think for me at least it was, and since I was like small, it was this kind of longing to find something. I don't know what I was looking for, but I was looking for something, and I knew that there was something out there which was going to bring around peace. And I knew that all these, professions or, marriage or like all these standards kind of society set is not going to have it.
Yeah, I read this somewhere, I think on Samantha Badda, where he said that humans have developed a system to exist. Where it's like, okay, you're born, you go to school, okay, now that's done, now what? You go to work, now that's done, now what? Retirement, now you can go through your retirement phase. So there's a convenience system where I guess it's made it easy for people to not really think about what they are going through, and they just go with the flow, go with the motions, roll with the flow.
It's not even the flow, no? It's like the society flow.
It's very easy to get dragged in that current though, for sure,
because that is the mainstream current. That is where everyone,
and you never choose to be in it, you're just born into it, so you're there in the current, and you're like, and then it just takes you just have to make the decision to stop and like be like, oh, I'm moving towards that side, and that's where everyone is going. Should just question that path that you're on and make sure that is this where you want to be, is what you're looking for at this destination. And if everyone's doing it, and if everyone seems to be miserable, something's wrong there.
Yeah, exactly. And even when you look at like the adults, most of them seem a bit messed up, where they are. Like I look at myself, put myself into their shoes. Like, okay, when I'm 40, I'm there. Will I be happy? Like, is this what I want? And I'm always like, no, hell no. Like, no.
You just have. You won't have the same problems you have now, but you'll just have a different problem when you're 40.
Exactly. And then the question comes, all that work, all those years, for what? If you are still in the same level. Yeah.
That's really crazy. That path is like sold to you also. Like the fact that you're going to grow. I mean, when you're a kid, they sell the idea to you, and then you have that idea like, I can't wait to get old and do these things.
Yeah.
But then even when you do these things, you're going to still feel the same emptiness that you feel when you were younger and you couldn't do those things.
And in your 20s, you think, oh, you'll have it figured out in your 30s. In the same way you thought in your teens, you'll have it figured out in your 20s.
Next thing you know, you're 90 and you're like, fuck, I'm not done.
But that's the thing. And to go against that is so difficult. I mean, it's not really, but it also is, no? Because all the pressures which are going to come from you for everyone who is stuck within a particular way of thinking.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying that living like a hippie or like an artist or like a musician, that's also another system, no?
Yeah.
It's just that it's difficult to live. I mean, I don't think there's any ideal system, but if you are to move away from the mainstream system, it's definitely going to be difficult, no matter what system you are
it's
going
very
to
hard
use.
when everyone's pulling you one direction. Like all the forces are moving you downstream. It's just hard to take a while and like stop and look and see where am I exactly? Who is pushing me this way? Am I really making these choices for myself?
Yeah.
Because you're born into like a predestined path which society has set for you. It's hard to break out of that, but it's possible.
Yeah. And when you're small, you think like the world is like your oyster and everything. World is like your oyster. Is that even a thing? World is like your
It's
oyster.
a playground, like sort of.
Yeah. And everything's possible. Like you can every possibility is an actual possibility. But really the possibilities are very less,
Yeah,
no?
and once you reach one possibility, actually, if you reach it, you just have you build something else. Now I'm kind of bored with this. Let's find something else.
Yeah.
So the possibilities are endless in that way because I don't think people have a real goal, even though you can say my purpose in life in this. It's not really a final purpose because after that purpose you're gonna have something else.
Yeah. You're not gonna die. Like you're not gonna in the Meeseeks episode in Rick and Morty. Like you're not gonna die after you fulfill your purpose, no? Which would be ideal. Yeah, but that's not how it works.
We would be doing this like I finished my purpose now I'm out. That's great.
But that just goes to show it's not just for that one particular purpose you lived for, no? I mean, if you are going to keep on living throughout, no? Yeah.
That's proof. Like the fact that you don't reach the purpose you think you have in life and die immediately.
Yeah.
That means that was never your purpose. Yeah.
Rather, that was just a temporary belief system that we adapted because we thought what we were looking for was there, no?
Yeah. And you get caught up in that so much, that bit of illusion, and you put so much energy. I mean, there were a lot of things that even in my life where I thought I really wanted.
Like what?
I mean, now
I can relate to at one point with art, with like theater, with acting and all that. Like I had that for a bit, and then but it switches. It always may. Yeah.
Now even when I sometimes I have these cravings. Like I want a pizza now, and I used to you go say it's okay. My bank account balance is kind of low, but I was going to buy it.
Yeah.
Now I think. Is this the fact that I'm going to spend this money and am I going to feel good about eating this pizza tomorrow? No, I'm going to forget about it. This is gone. So,
but that's the crazy part, no? Within that moment, while you're looking at that pizza, your mind kind of 100% convinces you, like this is the shit you need. Yeah, like your life depends on it almost. And not just for pizza, like for so many things, no? Like different things, like
everything basically. Yeah. Everything you do, you're doing it because you have that strong thing in your mind, the strong drive in your mind that you want this. You're going to work towards this, and when you get there, you want this thing now.
You don't want that thing anymore.
Yeah.
Then that means that motivation it kind of gave you initially to go get that initial thing was a lie, no?
Yeah.
It was a lie. It's like a salesman, a businessman almost, like sells you, like get this. So and you get it and it's like, no, I don't want it anymore.
I mean, you can look at like iPhones and stuff. They hype iPhones much, and then next year there's another one. Now, don't buy that. We'll put some update to destroy that thing. Now buy this. You want this. Buy that. And
and that cycle is never ending, no?
Yeah.
Every year they manage to fool everyone. Every year. Even and there are people who switch. I think
immediately. Early adopters. Even with games like FIFA 14, 15, 16, there's literally no difference. You're still kicking a ball between two sticks like poles. But you still go for it because it's the new thing. Now this is what you're attached to. You want this. Get it.
Yeah.
And it's just not permanent.
And more like again that society thing. It's not advertising all that. It convinces you. It kind of puts you through that energy, and you nicely latch on to it. Be like, this is what I want.
Yeah.
And then you get it, and then say you don't get it. Like for example, you don't get that pizza, okay, and then a few hours pass by, and you eat rice or something. and you completely forgotten about it.
Yeah.
Even then, it still didn't matter. You didn't get it, and it still didn't matter. But at that moment, that was like the most important thing. And that can happen for anything, no? Like even relationships, I feel like even when I was in school, like there were like so many crushes, and you're like, oh, this girl, and then a few months later, like, yeah, it's gone. Like, what was I even thinking almost?
Yeah, let's. When I think about relationships, for me, that's a bit. I used to be someone who used to be really attached to the idea of a loved one and all that. And I think I like still kind of like the idea, and I feel like it's just easier to have someone to like give something to. But then recently I just saw something a bit selfish in that, and that's why I was like, until I kind of figured out how to love someone in a nonsense selfish way, it doesn't really make sense to love that person, because you're literally just loving the version of themselves which you want them to be like.
Yeah,
you're not loving them. You just, as long as they adhere to the way you want them to be, you're good. And I think most relationship problems also kind of arise like that. Because you have a certain set of standards on how they go and how they are going to act and how they're going to react and with you. And when they don't do that, when they're not to your liking, you are sort of broken out of this thing, and you feel anger, and you're like, this girl is behaving like this, and no, I don't like that. But that means you never loved her for what she was doing and who she was and what her path in this little cycle was. You just wanted her to be what you wanted her to be. And as when she's not, then you feel that anger and something towards her, like, why aren't you doing this with me?
Just because they're not becoming that like model kind of thing which you created.
Even that doesn't last, because even in the start of a relationship where everything is fresh and new and you're excited, even when even when they're not to your liking, you somehow fool yourself into thinking, it's okay.
They're to my liking.
There is, you feel a bit of delusion. There are some people who really want love, who, when something clearly bad is happening to them, they don't see that also. Where even in abusive relationships, I know there are quite a few people in this world who stay in the relationship thinking this is
for sure.
what some people think, this is what I deserve, or no, I really love this person, he will change, and they keep going through. But that is also just a little bit of a lie you tell yourself, because you really want it. Your mind really wants it, so you make up whatever you want.
Wants what really? Like
companionship and that feeling of being loved and all. Because you are some like, it really depends. Some people are deprived of it, so they go in search for it. So and you look for that in partners, and you're not really looking for another person. You're just looking for someone you're just looking for someone who's going to be to your liking, when in reality everyone is their own person, and you're not going to find this perfect being who is going to do everything you want in the same way exactly you want it. So that way, there's always going to be suffering, some sort of suffering in any relationship. Arguments are going to break out, and fights are going to happen, and I mean breakups happening, divorces, all these things are at a rate these days. So that just goes to show what the nature of these things are like. But your mind just plays tricks on you, and you just keep actively going after because you think it's what you want, and it's the next
because like some people, like even in relationships, when you start say dating someone, then there's like a good sync, and later on even the same characteristics which made a good sync, you may be like, I don't know, I've experienced that in my side, where I thought I valued it, and just like the pizza, later on I went in to see that I don't really value that particular thing. It was just like this passing kind of high which I was kind of chasing.
I understand that. I wouldn't say I 100% agree.
I know. I feel like the way I approach relationships and you is like completely different.
I get into it. I get into relationships a lot, and I feel like anyone who has been lucky enough today or be interact with me in that sort of way would also, I hope they'd say that I have given like a lot and put a lot. Let's see.
I like to think of myself first.
Okay. But I mean, that way even when I think of people who I've had entanglements with, I look back on them.
Smith.
Yeah. Yellow table talks.
Oh.
I look back on them fondly, those relationships I had, and those people also. I don't have any hate towards any of them.
Yeah.
I
sure.
look back and I'm like, what we had was kind of nice, even though there were some bumps along the way, but really it was.
Yeah.
I enjoyed those bumps also.
Yeah.
Maybe that was also a bit of a delusion on my part, but then, yeah, I just liked the up and down nature.
Yeah,
of these
I
things.
also like the idea to see that, at least to have it in my head that, two people shared a space, like a sacred kind of space for a while with each other.
Yeah.
So, no matter how it went, they still shared a space. So that was kind of like a moment. It's something to be like respected almost. I don't know. Yeah.
Even I remember you said something though, when you look back on stuff, the picture is a little bit different. Like I remember you said it's like an adaptation. Eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Because
so you can go through a really abusive relationship and then 5 years down the line when you're looking back at it, like, it was so beautiful, he was so sweet. But no, dude, he was like beating you up. He was like pretty bad.
Oh yeah, shit, that's the thing about nostalgia, no? Like in nostalgia, the past always seems better when you look back. We talked about this before. It's like in school, in May, it seems better.
Yeah. Like I remember the example I brought up was a lot of people miss school. I miss the way how we used to interact in school. But no, dude, you were like miserable for 6 hours of the day and you had like one good interval. And that was like your day every single day for the whole year. And you look forward to holidays. So like, what does that really tell you about the school, this thing? So yeah, it's just funny. That nostalgia way, it's a whole different way it works the mind there.
Yeah, it's that the grass is greener on the other side, even though you've been on that side and it wasn't green, but still you tend to like convince yourself that it was.
Yeah, I think
we are all just trying to run from the present in one way or the other. So, it's either like a better future or like, oh, my past was good. It wasn't. It's not either. Yeah, what were you going to say?
Yeah, run from the present. Yeah. I completely forgot what I was going to say.
Because, and the other thing I want to say, like, even this present moment is not exactly reality, even though that's the closest thing to reality. I mean, like we talked about how you can take like an incident from the past and you can put your own filter to it and look at it however you want, which is not really the past, rather an adaptation of the past, a concept of the past you have. In the same way, even in this particular moment, there is also a filter, even within the present.
It's up to like interpretation, like the experience that me and you have. A person who's sitting here and listening to the exact same thing, seeing the exact same reactions, will take it differently.
Yeah.
But I see as like a blue whale or something, like a blue circle or something. You might see as orange, or someone might see it purple or something. It's a lot of things are up for interpretation.
Yeah, like even though the sensory input might be the same, it's a different reality they take in. Yeah.
I remember even last night. I remember explaining this, and I said that we all look at life through a bit of like a lens, and that lens is built up of a makeup of things you've been through, what you've been taught, what you've gone through, like all those things sort of show how you view the world. And like how, I mean, sometimes when I see a cockroach or a snake or like this thing, I feel scared about it, but some people are attracted to those things.
Some people be like, hey, dinner.
Yes. So
actually that's also pretty creepy, like even food, like if you go to China or someplace like that, people where most of the world does not consider food, these guys be like, nah, this food.
Dinner sorted. Home invasion sorted. Dinner sorted.
2 in 1. But you can put that frame however you want it, no? And there it's like a bigger bunch of people decide to make that frame, the way of looking at that particular thing, the mainstream thing. No? I mean, even in culture, even in our culture, like, Sri Lankan traditional, this was actually like, a bit like Victorian culture in Europe and all that, and now we have that. While Europe has kind of framed it in a different way, like with this liberal and this thing and all that. And it's also just a bunch of people saying this system is good or that system is good, but no system is universally good. It's more of there are some advantages in one and some advantages in the other one. It's
hard. Yeah, in a world where like everything is changing, it's hard to find something that's universal. But there is. No?
In the sense?
I think that when it comes to, I think I found like there are a lot of questions that come, like I've always thought about with what things I've gone through and stuff like that, and then just I think a lot of people they go through life, and a very easy sort of statement that everyone says is that's life, that's how it is. That statement, it kind of doesn't allow them to dig deeper into their problems and what these things. Whereas I feel like there's a unifying, there's just a, when you look deep enough, there's a bit of a point where everything will make sense kind of if you go there.
Yeah.
That is what's universal in everything.
Yeah.
I remember a few days, like I think a few weeks ago, I was at this like a club, and there was this dude there who looked really sad. It was one of my sister's friends. And normally I'm a bit of a silent person when I go out, even though I'm talking like this thing here. I was like, let's try and talk to this guy and see what he has to say. And I told him, you look really sad. And then he was like, his hands are like this, and then he propped up and then he smiled. He was like, he was drunk.
Yeah.
It's like, why do you think I'm sad? And then I was like, how should I answer this? Shall I answer this in a way that it's going to make sense to him? And I was quite curious to know how he'd react. And he said, and I said, there are some things in this world that you go through and you experience, and you have a bit of a frame in your head on how you want to experience those things, but you never really have full control over those things. And when it doesn't go to your plan, you experience some sort of a pain, some sort of a suffering. Okay. And he was like, fuck off, man. That is like there and everything. That's like a vague answer. It applies to everything. And then he sort of rubbed me off. But then if you really take what he said, he just literally accepted the fact that there was something universal in every single thing you go through.
Yeah.
And like when I kept trying to elaborate that, he brushed it off like, these things are just life. You need to understand, it's just life. It's a bit of an easy way to escape the whole thing, and go back to what society is pushing, that part. Where it's life. This is the life. This is what everyone's going to live through, and this is how everyone's going to live through for the time to come. But he just accepted that. So that's why I feel like if he took the time to, everyone took the time, even if I took the time to like go deeper into these things and see, you will come to a point where, though there's a bit of a dot here, and I see that dot through all the things I go through. And once you see that dot, it's a bit of a start of something. A start of, you're just going to start living a whole new different life, and you're going to see through it through a different perspective, which is what I feel like I'm kind of going through now. And I feel like if people open themselves up to this thing and not be close-minded about certain stuff, just, I'm not even asking them to like do anything crazy. I'm just saying, you go through stuff, you go through shit, you go through good stuff. Just see deeper. Don't see it at a surface level. Don't be like superficial about it. Just go dig a little deeper and just see what's underneath that. And maybe you'll find something good.
Yeah. And that's essentially, I mean, what this path is, no? But the Dhamma, But the thing is, like, for a normal person, say there's a normal person who's like, oh shit, there's a problem over here, let's see what's up. Most of the time, you can't really go that deep, no? Because your logical thinking can only take you so far. Yeah. And that's why I think this universal equation rather is super useful, because it's almost like a grounding. It's almost like a direction to look into, an equation to apply.
Like everything, like practice kind of makes perfect. And as you do it more and more, what seemed like rock to dig through slowly sort of starts breaking up, and you can go a little bit deeper than you could have gone like a week ago. Which is, I feel like, what I have like certain of the certain principles that I am sort of dealing with and grasping now. A year ago, I'd be like, fuck off, that's bullshit. It's like fantasy.
But you heard it in logic. Like I feel like I've told you in like this logical kind of this thing. A lot. But
I was like, I was a bit my mind was a bit attached to how
Yeah.
how I've been living, because it felt safe and all that. Actually, that's also something like
In the sense?
I remember one thing I was thinking about recently, where when you've been talking about this and what's there to be found here,
Yeah.
I remember saying, okay, sounds good, I'll live a little and come.
Yeah.
When if someone who's believed in rebirth, which now I kind of do, but
Yeah.
I didn't think I would, but
Yeah.
now I do. You've lived too much already.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like you've lived too much, like you've been through, if you look at all the lives you kind of had, if it's infinite, you've literally done every single thing that you could have done. Even though you don't have memory of that, you've done it, and that part of you is still there somewhere.
Mm.
So what's there to do? Like, might as well try something that's kind of new, and that could actually some kind of break you out of that whole thing.
But what do you mean kind of new?
Break you out.
You mean
Yeah,
in sense of like investigating and like
Yes,
going
yeah,
deeper.
yeah.
Yeah.
And another this thing, like people say do stuff to give your life meaning, but if you're in this cycle,
Because do stuff is the best solution. People can sell other people, no? Like society can sell, or like anyone can sell. Like do stuff, like
yeah,
like
do
hey,
stuff that make you happy.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's gonna be okay. Just
Yeah.
do that stuff, man.
Focus on the bright side.
Yeah, get the job, get the girl, get that phone, and it's going to be okay.
Yeah, too much. I think that, or even in what I just said, that everyone's like, look at the bright side, but really you shouldn't forget that there is a dark side also there.
Yeah.
You just maybe, even if you're uncomfortable, just look at it. Sometimes maybe you'll find something there to be found, and it might give you a bit.
Look at the dark side of the bright side, which is what people don't want to look at. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we live for the bright, we live for the good, we live for the highs. No one lives for the lows.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's if we see the real nature of the high, we wouldn't pursue it as much because we know what it is. Yeah, it's just that we are so lost in like even with profession, like something I think Asian parents like drill down kids a lot is like, if you become a doctor, or if you become an engineer, or if you get to this good post, then you'll be happy. But also what it is every time you feel down or low, you always can go back to your thought and be like, oh yeah, but I'm a doctor now, and be happy. Like what that's like a small ego trip happening there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I'm this now, so yeah, maybe it's not so bad after all. Yeah.
I mean, even as a kid, and when you're like, as you're a teen and all that, and you're studying to be a doctor, and you just feel like, when I'm a doctor, I'm not going to have all these financial problems. But no, you have teen problems now. You're going to have doctor problems then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like the poor people think when they become rich, the problems will go.
No,
but
but
they just switch from poor people problems to rich people problems. Yeah.
Which is actually a term, rich people problems. No? Like
Yeah.
third problems, first world problems.
Yeah. But that's the thing, there's no system out there where you get to where you will be 100% happy all the time. Where if you are in like this zero, and most of the time you're not, you're like in a -1 or something. There's no state where, okay, you'll get to this part in life and it'll be like a +1 for the rest of your life. That doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's kind of like being in a pool and you're like eternally drowning.
Yeah.
And then there are some times where you actually come up and you breathe fresh air, and it's like awesome.
That's a good one. Yeah.
You're like, as you go through life, you're like underwater and you're like, I'm trying to get up, I need to get up. And when you get up, and sometimes when you have that taste of what fresh air is like, it's amazing, and you're like, oh, I'm going to keep striving for this. But if someone were to put like a bit of a pedestal under where that pool you're in, and you're going to stand up and you'll be like, it's like a lot of this fresh air. I was like, what's the point? And that's like, it becomes, then you'll have fresh air breathing problems, like some stuff like that.
Because once you get that phone, like I remember like when I was a kid, even with like a laptop or, those things are like big things, but once you get them and you have them, it's like, it doesn't matter at all to my happiness anymore. But if you lose it, it's still going to suck. No?
Yeah.
It's like now it's like double trouble. Yeah.
Talking more on where you left off.
Yeah.
You were sort of saying how when it comes to happiness, you can actually achieve the places where you want to be, and you will have that bit of a trip where you are there. I'm kind of happy now. but that doesn't last.
Yeah, it goes away.
It always goes away. Always, yeah. That's why you keep doing things.
Yeah.
That's what keeps you doing stuff, keeps making plans for the future and all that. Like once you get to where you're going to be in 5 years, when you're there after 5 years, what's going to happen in the next 5 years is your immediate next question.
Yeah.
That's
It's a loop. It's an infinite process. And through infinity, the concept is we've been doing this.
Yeah.
And you can see that infinity within this life itself. How you chase one and you get it and gone. Then the next one. Then the next one. And through infinity, you've been stuck in this loop of like going. That's the concept of rebirth. Yeah.
Yeah. I was also thinking the concept of rebirth. There are some people, or even I thought, where if you don't remember your past lives, why does what happened in that matter? I had that thought for a while, and that was like, if you don't remember the past life, how can you attach yourself to that? But then what I eventually came to the conclusion, if you are currently going through the karma vipaka or whatever of the stuff that you've done in the past,
the effect,
yeah, if you going through the effects of the causes that has happened to you, what you put in the past, then isn't that you still living those lives in the same thing? Yeah.
And imagine you have a future ahead of you, and you know it's going to be so much shit.
Yeah.
And you'd be like fuck, man, I don't want to go through all that, no? Yeah. So definitely, especially knowing that, like, for example, say someone came to you and told the next 20 years is going to be really stressful. Like, you'd rather not have that stressful 20 years, no? I mean, that's like that with infinity also, no? Because if you're still making the causes, then all that effects are going to keep coming. And you are going to have to face all that. Yeah.
And there are some causes you put in past lives, even this life, where in past life that won't manifest into something in these lives. But by going further, you're letting those things happen to you. You could have done something bad in the past where you're going to suffer a bit much in the next life.
Exactly.
And by allowing yourself to go to the next life, you are going to just make yourself vulnerable to that whole thing.
You don't know what's up. You don't know what's in store for you.
Yeah. So that uncertainty, like if people really kind of open their eyes and see, like even I was like, I really think I was blind for like such a long time.
Yeah.
If you just open your eyes and see, maybe just think, is this what you want? Because now that I kind of know, I'm like, I don't want to do this again. I don't know what's in store for me. It could be really bad. Even if it's good, it's not going to last. So like, just might as well, if there's an answer, if there's a way out, why not, no?
Yeah, exactly. And that doesn't mean to say you are going to deprive yourself of any kind of pleasure whatsoever. And just do what you do, but just be real about it. No?
Just have a real like do whatever you want to do. Just make sure you don't have that attachment to the future version of yourself enjoying that thing you're doing or something.
And why shouldn't you have that attachment? Because that will lead to your own negative states of mind, no?
Like in Buddhism, they say everything you go through, even as a Catholic, my mother used to say, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And even if you're not a Catholic, I'm sure in some way or form you've heard that phrase, maybe phrased differently.
Yeah.
And it's true, no? Everything does happen for a reason. Everything happens because of a cause. Everything is Hetu Pada.
Yeah.
I lost the point. What was I going to go for?
It's okay, man. It happens.
Yeah.
Let go of the model in your head where you are going to say
something.
I've seen Jordan Peterson, that Canadian psychologist guy.
Who triggers a lot of people.
Yeah. Even he said it's like even like they say, like God has a book and he keeps record of every single thing you do. I mean karma is also not too different from that in the sense it's a science of nature. It's like you put something up, something falls down. It definitely has to fall down. You don't need like a separate entity being like, you did this, then you're gonna get some of this.
There's no Santa Claus making a naughty or nice list or something.
Exactly. It's more of like a science, no?
It's just how things work.
Yeah.
It is the nature of existence and being and everything.
Yeah.
Like even I think when I heard of Hetupada, even Einstein or someone said that every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
That's Isaac Newton.
Isaac Newton.
I think the third law of motion.
Yeah.
Yeah. But equal and opposite reaction, no? But that not entirely true in the sense, in this context. It's more of like, but of course, say you make the cause for something, and that's what the Buddha said, like it's super complex, this particular science. Like it's not like clear cut with 2 or 3 or 4 rules, you know. It's like a whole system, and since we live through infinity, there is multiple factors which are happening simultaneously. So the effect, it's very difficult for anyone who is not a Buddha to like understand. Yeah.
I think earlier what I wanted to say was
Yeah.
how these things, these causes, and there's these effects. We'll say, now we go back to the previous example of me watching that match.
Yeah.
My mind unconsciously, because I was kind of blind at the time, I let my mind unconsciously create an attachment to the future version of me enjoying that match. And that attachment is really strong. And that attachment that I made is a hetu, is a cause that I made for my future pala, the effect, which is my suffering.
Which is the dukkha.
Yeah, which is the dukkha. Which is me, shit, it rained, now I'm sad, my day is ruined, what am I going to do with all this time? No. It's like, so even that, there's like, when I was thinking, if you really think, if everything is cause and effect, then you're suffering, there are causes for your suffering.
There has to be.
Yeah. And you can't change the effect. You can't change the suffering because that effect has already happened.
Yeah.
But you can look into the causes and try and do your best to make sure that those things don't arise.
For sure. Essentially in this path, you never do anything to the effect. You only get rid of the causes. So the effect of suffering will not be there.
Yeah.
In Pali, it's that yam kinchi samudayan dabbang sabbantan nirodha dhammanti. If there is a particular dhamma, if there is anything which arises, look into the cause of it. Get rid of the cause of it, not the effect of it.
Yeah, because you can't. Because it happened already.
Yeah.
It's the causes where you can sort of play the game. You can put some cards down and this thing.
Exactly,
but after the game is lost, you can't really do anything. But you can look back on how you played the game, how the causes you put down, and change the effect.
Exactly.
Maybe.
So while you're disappointed that you couldn't watch the match, you know, now that disappointment has come, and there's nothing you can do about it now.
Yeah.
Because it has come. The effect has come. You already made those causes. So you have to go through that small phase of depression where which is happening now. So the way to get rid of it is understanding that you cannot expect a match to go smoothly like that.
Yeah. You can't expect anything to go the way you want it to go through, because 99% of things are like out of your control. So why try to control something you can't control?
Exactly,
Why try to exercise control into something that you can never really hold? It's like, that's the sort of those are the causes that you're putting for the future, which is your dukkha, your suffering. And in some way or form, although that suffering may not always take shape. Like, I mean, that match could have always gone ahead, and I would have felt okay. But even there, that happiness I feel by watching that, getting to watch the match, is not going to last. Like you said. So,
but you can go deeper into that in the sense like the happiness you get while watching the match, it has a viparinama, or this impermanence factor. Because it's going to fade away eventually, and again you are going to feel that gaping kind of hole within you where you had to fill it with something. So that is one aspect, and the other one is all the sankhara you do, like all the preparation you kind of do. No, I mean, you have to get an existence going in order to be able to watch the match and enjoy it. Yeah, and the other one is dukkha, the fact that what if the polar opposite happens? Like in this case, you don't watch the match, or the match doesn't happen. And a lot of the time, I feel like even though we don't see it, like for example, if you live to watch the match, you just can't be watching the match. No, like you have to go to like a 9-to-5 job. You had to do you had to maintain
buy dialogue TV. That's pay. I have enough money to pay for the subscription. There's so much energy that you have to go to do.
There's so much shit you had to do. Like even to go simply watch a movie at the cinema. I mean, if that is what you live for, sure. But you had to go to a 9-to-5. You had to do so much of shit just to do that 2 hours of movie.
Yeah,
You know?
you don't be able to afford it. Even when it comes and you can do all those things, you have to get an Uber. There's no ride.
Yeah.
Now I don't know what to do, and you put so much. There's just such a long path to these things, no?
And then you can watch the match and it can be boring, no?
Yeah.
Like I remember the last.
I mean, there are some matches I watched a few years ago. I don't even remember them anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't give me anything at all right now.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but this T20 final, I was the semis, which was with Pakistan, and that was pretty intense, you know, Pakistan and Australia. And it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then it came to the final, and
yeah.
it was like, it was such a letdown.
Yeah.
The whole thing, yeah. But we had that Panchupadanaskandi, that kind of expectation, that thing like, oh, it's going to be this, but it's not that.
Yeah.
It's not really worth it.
Yeah.
Coming back to the pool example, it's almost like most of the time we are drowning, and for a little while we get a breath, and it feels good while we breathe.
Yeah.
But again we go to the ground.
Yeah.
But we live to go up to that
Take a breath,
for a little, for a small period of time. But 90% of the time we are in drowning mode.
Yeah. So just do whatever you can to get out of the pool.
Yeah. Rather, just look at this process.
Yeah.
Just understand what's happening.
Yeah.
And you don't have to like separately shut yourself from society or go to a forest and like look at all that. Yeah. While
Why you do stuff in this, go looking at the pool exam, your mind just gets attached to that idea of you taking that fresh breath.
yeah.
And you're in that moment putting causes to achieve that.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just take a look, like you said, look at it a bit deeper, take a bit of a step back, and then you will actually notice you're in a pool and you're drowning 90% of the time. And the ladder is kind of there, you need to kind of swim to it and all that. You can kind of get out of this pool, but it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
But you can do it.
It's not going to be hard either.
Yeah. If you put the causes,
Yeah,
then
exactly.
it will come about.
And it's pretty smooth also. Like once you get into the path is a very flow kind of state. It's not like, okay, I have to. It's more like it flows.
Yeah, definitely. There's no like step 1. Do
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
Step
exactly.
2. Do this.
And
it's
like
a flow, yeah.
And it's like, no, I have to believe in the word of the Buddha. I have to believe in this. Like, no.
There are no rules.
Yeah.
There's no don't eat meat and all that
Yeah,
stuff. Like,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
no rules. That's something I come to think about because
You can follow it if you want to.
Yeah,
If not, that's cool.
yeah. Even the things that people say don't indulge in that, overindulge.
Yeah,
do whatever
yeah.
you want. Try and see if you actually find what you're looking for there. But if you don't, understand why you don't find it there.
Exactly. But don't pretend and tell yourself that it's not there when you actually might subconsciously be thinking it is there. Yeah. Okay then. I guess that was a good combo.
Yeah.
I don't know what we'll call this one. But yeah. we went from
Like an amalgamation of topics.
Yeah. Okay then.
But I hope that it had some sort of maybe we put causes for something.
Maybe we planted a seed.
Yeah.
And it's your time to water the seed.
Yes, yeah. You put the causes now. We put some causes, and that's resulted in effect. Now you water it, put some pukhara and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's up to you, fellow Dhamma Trippers.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.